Hey, what's going on? Give me a sec. Let me get my notifications out. Sorry I'm a bit late. Setup's a bit scuffed today. Just have to send out the links and we'll get started. It's Twitter and... Can you all hear me fine? Because I am not using what I typically use for audio. So might be a bit yeah. Right. That's good. That's good. At least I'm hearable. Hmm. Chapter 6, I believe. Yeah. The volume is a bit low. Let me see what I can do about that. I can add a bit of gain, maybe. Yeah, gain sounds good. How's this? Is that better? All right. Should be everything. Everyone has their notifications out. And yeah. All right. From what I've seen, this chapter is only like 20 something pages from what I saw on Manga Dex, so shouldn't be a big one today. Which is good. I'm very tired. I'm still dealing with jet lag a bit, but you know, we do what we can. And I do have some stuff that I want to talk about, regardless of what actually occurs within the chapter. So let's get into it. Jungle Warfare Part 1. Right. Scoop up the treasures of this world. Immediately with the narration, there are these relationships that coincide with where I live, go to school, etc. I think they're helping me grow a decent amount as a man. And it's not like I'm gonna do this stuff forever. But right now, just to make some pocket money, I'm working in this group of four pieces of I'm working in this group of four pieces of trash. Ah, the official group name. He entrusted the lava rock to them, but what is Rohan's true motive? With the role of the lookout, I'm leaving it in your care. I'm not giving it to you. This whole incident with the lava rocks that Kishibe Rohan had locked up in a safe. What exactly is going on? He said he's leaving it in my care. This thing's more valuable than the diamond, so I'd better handle it gingerly. I made a deal so we could get on a plane and go home safely after all. But what did he mean by leave in my care? That makes it sound like there's future events involved. Does he want to make me do something with this lava rock? I won't do jack unless it makes me money. Yeah, so generally, kind of just going over what we did in the previous chapter, but it's interesting that like hmm, I'll get into it once we get to the end of this, but like the way JoJo's arc is panning out is kind of atypical for Joestar, I would say. You okay? Yeah, I just slipped. Ooh, the red one over there is an iwiwi. Iwi iwi iwi? Is that it? Iwi? That's an endangered species of bird epidemic to the island of Hawaii. It evolved uniquely due to its environment. Man, this forest was a cool ass place. Uh, it's a little drawing of it. That's cute. It's got like a hooked beak. We ain't lost, right? Which way was the car? Look to the left of the big tree over there, the shadows going up the hill. Paco, it's on the ground. Yeah, so here we go with the diamond again moving out of place. Hmm. Alright, so Paco seemed to be able to hold it for the most part, but now he's not able to. I think the going theory with how the diamond was working was the fact that they had the lava rock now meant that wealth and fortune was being drawn to them, and so they were able to keep the diamond on hand. But no, it seems to be something completely separate in this case. Hey, what the hell? Or not? Because Jodio's looking towards the lava rock now. I I know for a fact that I had the diamond that I had that diamond in the zippered pocket of my backpack. I'm sure of it. I know, Paco. I know. Whether you're clenching it in your hand or packing it up tight in your bag. It was the same for me. For some reason, the diamond kept falling out. It's going back to that Rohan guy. Ah. Yeah, so like if even the drawing is being drawn to Jodio, then it has to be because of the lava rock, because like Jodio perceives that as being something valuable, so it's being drawn to him and away from Usagi, who was in possession of it before. Whoa, Rohan Sentei's original drawing that's on the ground too. How? Usagi, check your backpack. Huh? Me? The drawing. The drawing fell? Huh? It's not here. Wait, I know I had that in. That was in my backpack. Huh? How? Are you for real? Look at this backpack. Does it look like a paper drawing could have fallen out of this? Ah, now that you mention it, the cash. Kishibe Rohan's bills had fallen onto the floor back there. They fell out then too. The bills fell from Paco's pockets, all over the floor. You said you stole it out of a drawer, right? Huh? Me? Yeah, I guess. Ultimately, that cash went back to Rohan. You think maybe the diamond, the bills, and the drawing aren't falling onto the ground because we're being careless? That it's not a coincidence or an accident, and it's not that Kishibe Rohan set up some kind of trick. It's that they're gathering on their own towards that lava rock. Gathering. So they're returning. They're like coming back to this. You said that the bills did that, so that like makes three in total. Three things with monetary value. The original drawing is worth money too. I don't know. I don't know how much one of his drawings is worth though. They all belong to the mangaka though. This is what Kishibe Rohan went through the trouble of bringing that diamond through customs and coming to Hawaii for. That lava rock. Maybe we could make money with it. For some reason, they're gathering towards it. That's the value of the rock. I'll bet that since Jodio is the one carrying the lava rock, if he picked that diamond up, it wouldn't fall to the ground. Go on, pick it up, Jodio. Hmm. And then this is the cat stand, I guess, with the string and the wire that wraps around your leg. Ooh, they set up a trap in the woods. Ah, the cats. Can't trust the cats. Ah, this looks cool, actually. Like this area. Wait, isn't that it's the wire? What the hell, man? That wire snagged his ankle, but we're not in the house anymore. What the hell? Drop the rock. What was that? There's something moving around our perimeter. An animal. Huh? It's the cat. It's him. It's his wire. He followed us. Wire. You mean that new type of security system that was set up in the mangaka's mansion? The wire is wrapped around my ankle. It's getting tighter. For crying out loud, it's not a new type of security system. Didn't you hear what I said before? It's a stand ability. That thing's been watching us since before we broke into Rohan's place. The cat was watching us the whole time. The cat was watching us. What for? Why the hell would I know why a cat would want to do that? But it's been following us, I know it. It's an animal with an instinct to hunt. Stop, Pink Chan. Don't go near Jodio while he's like that. Oh, that just straight up stabs him. Huh. Dragona, something's floating in the air near you. Dragona, get away from there. There's a bunch of them floating around. These. It stabbed me. It's piercing through me. These wires don't just wrap around you then. Hey, this ain't looking good. It's sewing itself into us. Ooh. Jesus. More coming on gusts of wind. They're flying towards us from upwind. They just keep coming. They're all floating. They're floating all gracefully, but they're as tough as steel. We are in the middle of the jungle. It isn't. It really isn't a security system. It's actually a stand ability. The cat has a stand ability. Where's Usagi? For real, where'd that guy go? Usagi's gone. Huh? The diamond's gone. No way. You're kidding me. Not only is the diamond gone, but the lava rock. And even that drawing is gone. That bastard. Usagi! You ran, dink, you asshole. You're dead meat the minute I get a hold of you. I'll chase you through hellfire if I have to. Ugh, damn it. Ugh, ugh. The branch is 7 meters above me, and the trunk of the tree is 4 meters away. You two, right below, come right below me, directly below where I'm hanging. Oh shit. Draw on your legs, get right underneath me. November rain. Ooh. So the wire really is a stand. Huh. What? What is he doing here? Is he just like cutting it? Or no, he's trying to bring the branch down, maybe? No, but he was underneath the. Oh, he's trying to make himself heavier so that the branch snaps. Ah, I see them. They're looking this way. Is there any way to break free from the siege? Okay. Interesting. So yeah, short chapter, but uh yeah, pretty good. Hold on, let me get my cork board up. Give me a sec. And we can start working on some stuff. All right. Should be good now. Cork board. Why is that looking like that? All right. He's repelling the strings with the rain so they don't attack Dragona or Paco. I see. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Hmm. Hey, Schroeder. Can you read JoJo's lines like he's Mr. Krabs? Sorry, I didn't see that. But no. All right, so, uh, so this is an interesting chapter to get this month, considering like the kind of discourse that was going on beforehand about whether Usagi was going to betray the gang, which, you know, uh what happened in the chapter doesn't necessarily mean that that's what's come to pass. It just means that that's what the gang currently thinks has come to pass. Yeah, it's like it's mostly a setup chapter. It's also very short, so like, you know. But it brings me to this, which was like my take on the whole discussion about whether Usagi was going to kind of betray the gang at all. This is what I pretty much had to say about that. I thought that Usagi would betray Jodio in the short term as a consequence of some connection to Meryl McKee, and then will in turn betray Meryl. Paco will remain loyal to Jodio despite acting greedy, and Dragona will betray Jodio in the long term as a result of ideological conflict rather than greed. So in the last chapter, Rohan like directly hints towards the fact that uh, Jodio is going to be betrayed, most likely by one of his allies, and this is what kind of brought the conversation up. Also, the fact that like people thought that Usagi was kind of sketch right at the gate because uh, Muromeki just like thrusts him onto the team, and you know he kind of comes out of nowhere. He doesn't have any like established connections to the rest of the gang, but ultimately, I don't think that this betrayal is going to last, mostly just because I think a lot of effort is being put into making Usagi seem likable, uh, which it would be interesting if Araki actually like did commit to that, but I think that like we're meant to like see him as a part of the gang, right? If this is already the betrayal, then it's way too early. The betrayal was first teased last chapter, even as a fake out betrayal. This feels rushed. Yeah, that's kind of a big reason why I feel like there's more to it than just Usagi betrays them. Uh Here's the thing. Like we got a bit of it this chapter with like how Jodio's kind of treating this whole get rich stuff, right? Hold on, let me adjust this. It's out of frame for some reason. There we go. Uh I hope Usagi does turn out traitor in the long run. Having an actual traitor ally would be cool and new for JoJo. Um, I mean, why? I mean, yeah, I guess. But like, I feel like it's way too soon for something like that. Like, I can't see Usagi lasting more than another arc. Uh, if it is the case that like he's betraying them and uh he actually like gets his comeuppance because what at what point why would they trust him after that. uh Shit, hold on, cut this off. But all right, let me go back to the beginning of the chapter where Jodio is talking about this stuff. uh so this is something that I've been thinking about regarding Jodio's character, which it's really interesting that it got brought up so heavily in this chapter because it seems to be connected directly to the idea of there being a betrayal in Jodio's midst. Uh, there are these relationships that coincide with where I live, go to school, etc. I think they're helping me grow a decent amount as a man. And it's not like I'm gonna do this stuff forever. But right now, just to make some pocket money, I'm working with this group of four pieces of trash. So Jodio has aspirations, right? He wants to become filthy rich. But here's the thing about a motivation like that. It is like inherently flawed, right? Because take it compare it to something like Giorno Giovanna, right? Who has a fairly like dark ambition. He wants to be a gangster, but he has a very specific end goal in mind, and the stuff that kind of like backs that motivation is inherently like good, right? He wants to keep children from not being like peddled drugs to, essentially, which, funnily enough, is the exact opposite of what Jojo's sort of general character is, which I think is relevant. But the important part here is that like Jojo's ambition of becoming filthy rich, there isn't really an end in sight for that. You know what I mean? Like when you want to become filthy rich, you're essentially like pursuing to gain as much capital as you possibly can. But the problem with that is that there's no end to it. Even if Jodio were to become the richest person on Earth, that wouldn't necessarily put an end to that ambition, right? Like, where does he become content? I don't think just like uh, gathering wealth and kind of like accumulating money, however he does that. I think at some point it like has diminishing returns, but like at what point are you satisfied with that? And that applies into real life, but especially as a character motive, uh, that causes us to ask like a lot of interesting questions about like what Jodio actually wants. Uh, and like when it comes down to it, Jodio's character is not motivated by money. Money is like a means to an end, right? Money is the ideal of power in his mind from which he views the world. If you have money, you have power. If you have power, you can protect the people that are close to you and yourself, right? What he actually cares about are Dragona and his mother, his two like closest family members. Uh, and when you think about it from that perspective, it becomes more of a matter of how far into this does Jodio get that one, he becomes content, and two, what like makes him stop on his journey, right? What is the thing that like inhibits him from just accumulating wealth beyond reason? Uh, so you know how like we've had all these different like Breaking Bad references in the past, like this is chapter 6, so it was like 4 out of 6 chapters at this point. Araki's clearly watched Breaking Bad fairly recently and is like, oh, I'm really inspired by this. Like he has everything that he's seeing in his mind with the Breaking Bad, and he's just like putting it onto a page, filtering it through his own personal viewpoint. Uh, that's why I find it so interesting that like Jodio is having this sort of character arc, because that's pretty much the same character arc that Walter White goes through, right? Like the original reason that Walter White like gets into the drug business is because he like developed cancer and he wants to provide for his family before he passes away, right? But as time goes on throughout Breaking Bad, that kind of gets distorted and it becomes more of a pride thing where he's just trying to accumulate as much money and build as big of an empire as possible until the point where, you know, everything comes crashing down on him. And I'm not saying that JoJo's story is going to line up 1 to 1 with Walter White. Obviously not. It's JoJo. Like that alone is gonna make it so that's different. And I don't think Araki is like necessarily looking to kind of embody some character flaws and stuff with Jodio and stuff like that, but I think he's trying to do something similar with his character arc where uh if pride isn't his downfall, then it'll be like what drags him way too far and he has to be brought back from that point of no return, right? Uh because we have Dragona in his general like group. Walter White, he doesn't have a member of his family in his general, he doesn't have like a member of his family in his general like ring of influence within like his drug empire, uh except for like Skylar, but like she's kind of also not very enthused about it. But like Dragona's all in on this stuff, right? Like Dragona enables Jodio to no end, which is why I think like the idea of Dragona betraying Jodio in the long term as a result of ideological conflict rather than greed is like so, it fits so well because like Dragona's the one that Jodio ultimately wants to protect, right? So if Jodio reaches the point of no return, I think Dragona is the one that would have to like reel him back in and kind of like bring him back down to earth to realize, hey, you don't need to keep going. You're already filthy rich. Because with how we're getting the lava rock this early on in the story, uh, like we already have our means for Jodio to accumulate wealth, just like we had our means for Walter White to accumulate wealth right from the beginning with the blue meth, right? So the conflict more comes less from how is he going to do it to what are the results of him doing it to have on his character, right? So like Dragona is more of a less the kind of character where like with uh Skylar White or Walt Jr. and more of a like Pinkman sort of thing where the protagonist is like really close to them and essentially considers them family, but you know they get dragged into this shit and just like gets brought down with them uh just in their reckless ambition to the point where like once they realize how much damage that's doing, it causes them to just like reevaluate a lot of things, right? And changes their actions in the end. Anyway, yeah. I mean, we're talking about the guy who copied the entire backstory of a character from the book, like one to one. Jodio might end up just being one to one Walter White. That's already like not a possibility. Walter White's an old man. Jodio's a teenager. Like, there's gonna be differences between the characters, but I could see it being very similar. I can't believe Dragona is GNC Jesse Pinkman. It does kind of feel that way. It does kind of feel that way. I think Dragona might betray him, but out of personal survival rather than ideology, kind of like how Josefumi wanted, but Dragona goes all the way instead. Yeah, like how it happens, I don't think really matters. Dragona doesn't seem like a very like ideological, like committed to their ideals kind of person, but at the same time, whatever causes it doesn't really matter. Uh, it's just the feeling of Jodio like feeling like Dragona left them in the middle of like their ambition together. Either because Dragona realizes, yeah, this is enough. This isn't worth my life or whatever. Uh, but you know, wonder how Jodio would deal with Milagro Man. I mean, it's kind of a similar deal, right? Except Milagro Man is more like actively harmful to you This just feels like Milagro Man stretched out over the course of an entire part. We're gonna get a new universe version of the clan from part 6. Ah, yes, my favorite JoJo character, Ku Klux Klan. Uh, JoJo is very also is already very far away from a one-to-one Walter White, though. One of the most important things about Walt is his dishonesty and his motivations. JoJo is very upfront with what he wants and why. Yeah, uh, he is upfront with it, but also at the same time, like JoJo, like he's very upfront with it in his initial like monologues in the first chapter, but like if you look beyond the surface level of him saying, yeah, I'm gonna be filthy rich, right? uh it's really like a story about like, all right, this is how I view the world. This is like my worldview, and my worldview is that if you have power, you can protect the people that are closest to you. Money is power. And so, like, I want to be rich so that I can have the most perfect protection of my family or whatever, like, along those lines. He kind of like builds himself up, uh, like, to be as cool as possible, obviously, because, like, that's his sort of like mentality. But the more important part of that is like when he talks about the other kid at his school who gets bullied and gets like water poured on his head and probably is going to stop coming to school. The main thing that he points to with that is the fact that like nobody cares about like giving his mother like a walk across the street or whatever. Uh, like that's the main point of personal pride for Jodio, is that his mother is taken care of. So like accumulating wealth is his means to like develop that. It's a reflection of his control over the mechanisms of his world around him, right? And like there's nothing inherently wrong about wanting to understand and utilize the mechanisms of the world around you to your favor by itself, but like just using it to accumulate as much wealth as possible, there's inevitably going to be a problem there. Yeah. All right, what else is in this chapter, because I feel like I'm only talking about the first page. uh yeah, I wonder how this lava rock works. Is JoJo's mom a stand user? Is that how it'll play out? I mean, we spent the entire part like talking about whether Holly just Darkira was a stand user, so I don't know, man. Uh, but she is Holly's sister, so like, who knows? The functions of the lava rock are really weird. Uh, like it feels kind of quantumy in nature, but like on the other hand, the only thing it seems to be doing is just like teleporting out of backpacks at this point and hands. So, I guess it could be any number of things. It's just like wealth being brought towards the lava rock. So I wonder if it's just like generally agreed upon to be worthwhile or something that the like person in possession of it personally thinks is worth something, right? Like if Jodio was the only person on the planet who would buy this Pink Dark Boy page or whatever, I wonder if that would still mean that it would be brought to him as a form of wealth, even if like it isn't recognized worldwide as a something that is worth something. I hope that the first half or so of the part is the gang using the rock to steal slash discover increasingly rare treasures. Uh, that's actually like something interesting that I want to touch on too. We know at this point that like they get their shit wrecked, right? Like that was the main point in chapter 1 by the end where they're like, hold on, let me get the exact page. The boss did call one thing correctly. Just the three of us would seriously not have been enough. Actually, it wouldn't have been enough no matter how many people we had. So like the general implication of that being here. The general implication of this being that like they still have a bit of curb stomping to experience at this point, right? So like I don't think it would just be the cats. Like nothing about the cats with their wires is like, oh, this is undefeatable. Like they have the wire power. How could we defeat them? They have the wire power. But like it's weird. Like maybe some other character will show up still at this point before they reach the airport. Uh but I'm not entirely sure that they're gonna keep possession of the lava rock all the way through this arc. Like we've established it as like the MacGuffin of JoJoLands so far, like we had for the Rokakaka, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're going to keep their hands on it, right? Well, I mean, there is three of them. True. Now that Usagi's gone, they can't handle it. But the phrasing of this, I certainly hope that like Muromaki is not related to whatever gets their shit wrecked, right? Because that would make the phrasing of this whole thing with like Muromaki was right about this, especially if like Usagi is betraying them for Muromaki, right? Because that would be kind of dishonest narration, which Araki's done in the past. But let's not go there. Yeah, I forgot we were all expecting Rohan to wipe them because of that line. We still haven't gone to the Big L, and I doubt the cats are going to be the X Factor. Exactly. Like, maybe they will just get their shit wrecked by three cats. It's kind of pathetic, though. Like, they can't even beat some cats. I wonder if all the cats share a stand, or if they each have their own version of the wire stand, or even if they, like, all have separate stands and only the wire stand's been used so far. Since Hawaii is made up of volcanic islands, I wonder if there's a larger lava rock that's just an entire island. Is the main island is like the island of Hawaii the largest one, or hold on, let me double check this. I don't think it is. I think it's the second largest. There's Oahu, Molokai, Maui. No, the island of Hawaii is the largest one. So they're on the largest island right now. I wonder where Rohan got that rock from. If I'm being honest, Part 8's ending ruined any sort of expectations for me. Like, I can't really get excited, especially with how slow these 6 chapters have been. Uh, well, two things. One, I don't agree that these chapters have been slow. Like, I think 2 out of the 6 chapters we've had so far could maybe be considered like a bit slow, but they were also like shorter chapters relatively and were more set up. If you read through them, like if you go back and read through them, they are not slow. Like they establish so much, they get so much done in the time that they have, right? Uh, we're just like back on that monthly train. And second, uh, I don't think Part 8's ending is indicative of anything because a big problem with Part 8's ending, one, was like lack of planning, right? Uh, which was mainly a consequence of like JoJolian starting so close to Steel Ball Run and like Rocky never getting any break, like large break before then, to really like establish in his mind what JoJolian was, right? Uh, and more importantly than that, JoJolian is a mystery story. So like lack of planning is really gonna come down hard on it. But JoJoLands is more just like action, adventure, occasional heist, right? Yeah, this is like usual JoJo pacing. Like if you go chapter to chapter on Steel Ball Run or JoJolian, you're gonna feel the same way. Should get a sneeze button. Yeah, sorry. Again, scuff setup right now. I can't really do anything about it. Uh, what else is there? Yeah, this is like mostly build up for the cat fight. Uh, so we know how the lava rock works now. I'm wondering what makes this lava rock special in particular. Like, the most obvious answer is that it's lava rock from a devil's palm, and it has just like blessed properties because of that. But it could be something else entirely. Like, because the Rokakaka, the reason that it seemed to be so powerful, the new version of it at least, is because of like the blessed properties of Morio's ground, which seems to have come from Johnny Joestar. But I'm freaked out by the possibility of there being no beatdowns in the series. Oh, don't worry, Jojo will just do it with his fists. He doesn't need a stand. Remember the little bits of CQC that we get with Gappy against the Aphex twins? Imagine that, but the entire part. It's just becoming a regular shonen at that point. I'm beginning to feel like there might not be any Devil's Palm connections in this part, which would be pretty weird. I disagree. Like, I think the implication of the lava rock being a Devil's Palm like artifact is like pretty like reasonable to assume at this point. Uh, like I don't understand why Araki would just like build up stuff over part 7 and 8 and just like not use it in JoJoLands, which is like set up to be like the conclusion to this continuity. Uh, because the original continuity had all the stuff with Dio, and that was like the main through line throughout the entire like 6 parts. But now we have like the Blessed Lands as the kind of through line for the new continuity. It feels kind of too obvious though, but like it doesn't need to be uh like unexpected. It's just like a thematic through line. Like no one's gonna be surprised by that, but it does add to it in some way. Like not everything needs to be surprising. Man, the fact that like the wire just weaves into you, that's like terrifying. Jesus. Look at this. It's horrifying. Hold on. It's like going through their body. Oof. All right. What else? Is there anything else that you all want me to touch on? It was a fairly short chapter today, so like no reason to really prolong it, but I think I said pretty much everything that I wanted to say. I really wonder what's going to happen with Usagi for the rest of the part. Cause like I don't see him playing the sort of role that people kind of like felt uh Fugo would originally be taken in, where like he's a traitor and he joins the evil team and like the gang just fights him. That feels a bit too weird with how early they're establishing this in the part, and it kind of doesn't feel like it fits his character as well. I hope part 9 does more with Dio than part 5 did. Like Dio is even in JoJo's name. We gotta get something right. I don't know. I feel like it's funnier if his name just has Dio in it and he has no relation to Dio. Like that's a good bit. I wonder what the relationship between Dragona and Paco will be like. It's friendly. They can curb stomp Usagi together for him abandoning them. Yeah. Pacona or Draco. Draco's actually kind of badass. Draco works really well. Oh no. Oh, that's gonna be a thing. I hope in true JoJolian fashion we go the whole part with no explanation for the family tree discrepancy. Uh Jolien catching strays this chapter. Hmm. All right. Doesn't seem to be anything left, so I think it's better if we call it here, right? Anyway, all right. Thank you all for coming today. Good as always. See you all next month for the next chapter. Hopefully, I'll be able to read it on time this time, but we'll see. All right.